Good evening, everybody. 'Tis the season, etc., etc. Season's greetings to you from Carrow Road. I'm surrounded with suitably festive imagery, and it is a good festive feeling for Norwich City this evening. They've beaten Huddersfield Town by 2-0, kept a clean sheet. Their unbeaten run continues. Now, just one defeat in 8 games. They're up to 8th in the table, 2 points off the top 6. And after what's been quite a taxing season, it finally feels like some relief in these parts of what Norwich City are producing at this moment in time. It's incredibly windy. Hopefully you can hear me, and we'll go for as long as we possibly can. The wind has literally just started to pick up as I've started speaking. I'm sure you'll all shout at me if you can't hear me. This was good. This was good from Norwich. I think both in terms of performance and result. I think second half in particular that is the best that Norwich have played for this run as well. Hopefully this is all going to hold up and the Wi-Fi is going to hold up, but so hopefully you can all see and hear me. Yeah, so this is the best I think in the second half that Norwich have played in this run of 1 win in 8. They controlled this game really nicely. They played really nicely. They could have won by a bigger margin than they did, and they prevented really any kind of opportunity that Huddersfield had to break and to get out of their own half. So they controlled the game well. They constructed opportunities. They scored 2 goals. They kept a clean sheet. I think people or David Wagner and everyone around Norwich City should be looking at this as a pretty good performance against a team who, are really quite poor, to be honest. Huddersfield are not a great side, and I think you can see why they are where they are in the league. They are okay out of possession. I thought their lines were a bit stretched at times between the defensive line, midfield line and attacking line. And they offered Norwich a lot of space with the ball to go and break them down. But certainly with the ball, there was a real lack of invention and a lack of idea and a lack of quality actually to get themselves up the pitch. They created very, very little. I'm struggling to think of any save really that Angus Gunn had to make. There was a couple of blocks that Norwich had to oversee, but it was really comfortable, and that's the word I would use for this whole afternoon. Really comfortable. If we break down the game, the first half I felt was Norwich. It was a lot of huffing and puffing. There was a wonderful save from Chris Maxwell from an Ashley Barnes header, which really prevented them from going in at the break 1-0 up. But beyond that, they were huffing and puffing a bit. They probably lacked a little bit of impetus, and I don't think they had the... there wasn't kind of grabbing the game by the scruff of the neck. It kind of felt like they were waiting for something to happen and to fall, and tactically it was quite interesting. They set up in a very, very similar way to what they did against Preston, where they had sort of John Rowe playing in a bit more of an advanced position, kind of 2 deeper lying forwards, and then wide players quite high. Fullbacks, it's that time of year. Fullbacks pushed on quite high, and wingers kind of just tucked inside a little bit, and that was aimed to try and displace the line before the defensive line, and they struggled with that to an extent. I think there was a little bit of frustration creeping in the stands, and you could sense that. And I think there probably was some fears that this was going in the same way as Preston, and for the first half, it did look like that. It looked like a game that was lacking a little bit of spark, a little bit of energy, a little bit of edge, and maybe that final bit of quality that Norwich City needed just to break the deadlock in this game. And I think it felt like even at half-time, and even for all the frustration that was in this place, if they could get a goal, I think the game was only then going to go in one direction. And the fact they did that so quickly into the second half, and it's a second phase of a corner goes in, Duffy sort of gets side of his head to it and flicks the ball on. It's Nunez with a gorgeous ball in from the right, and up pops Sam McCallum with what is, I think, I've not checked this, but I think it's his first ever Norwich City goal, certainly first ever Championship goal for Norwich. Brilliant header, and to be honest, I thought he was really unfortunate not to start today. I spoke a little bit about Portman Road, about how well I think he did at solidifying that left-hand side in the second half there. Timmy Yanulis returned after what was an injury, and I could kind of see the logic there because he's someone who's a little bit more forward-thinking and advanced and attacking in his outlook. But Sam McCallum, I think, does have qualities, and he's in a really nice run of form at this moment in time, Sam McCallum, and kind of deserves that really. And not only that, there was a couple of moments in the second half as well where his aerial abilities and his willingness to run were really useful for Norwich. There was one where he knocked the ball down to Ashley Barnes, who hit a shot that Maxwell pushed into the side netting. There was, again, some really, really good running. I don't think he's quite as forward-thinking as Giannoulis, but he's still really effective. He's got a wicked left foot on him when he delivers it. And as I said, for what he's delivered now, over 2:45s really, that second half of Portland Road, and 45 here today, he deserves that goal, and he deserves some real credit for the shift that he's put in. And if Dimi Giannoulis, as it maybe looks like, he's going to be missing that Boxing Day game with a bit of concussion, I don't think you'd have any issue at all with Sam McCallum stepping into that void. And the second goal for Norwich comes from, and again, testament really to Adam Eder, 2 subs for Norwich changing the game. Thought he really added an impetus, that spark that I spoke about maybe that was lacking. He really added that. Really poor defending from Helic, actually. Just kind of rides the ball really well, almost creates a shield. Helic misses times his jump, ball goes over his head, and Adam Eder's away down that right. Ball into the middle. It's a poor touch from Ashley Barnes, but it pushes the ball into Borja Sainz's path. And then after what was a pretty wild effort in the first half down this end, he cut inside and found the bottom corner absolutely beautifully. It's now 2 goals in 3 starts for him. I didn't feel it was maybe as effective as he has been, but I think those flashes, and he's 22, there's still a period of adaptation for him in terms of English football and Championship football. There's quality in there. There's talent in that player. It's just for Norwich now about perseverance, about consistency as well. And I think that goal will do him the world of good, and an excellent finish. And Norwich should have had a third. I think it was a Stacey cross. He crossed it in. Fashnak was unmarked in the 6-yard box. Real opportunity, and just kind of headed it over. And that was pretty much it in terms of the way of really clear-cut chances. But what pleased me, I think, was there was a bit more zip, a bit more confidence, a bit more energy in Norwich City's possession in the second half. I thought they controlled the game really nicely. And actually, I think there's a real kind of structural change that David Wagner has made. I know not everyone's a fan of Kenny McLean playing at centre-back, but what that has enabled is for Marcelino Nunez to come in games like this at Carrow Road, when Norwich have lots of the ball and they are playing low-blocked teams. Him and Sarah have a beginning to forge a real nice connection, but he just keeps things ticking. He finds some really nice passes. He's really clever and astute on the ball. He drops into that back three, and his passing range is immaculate. And I think he helps Norwich and brings a level of control to Norwich's performances in possession that maybe have been lacking slightly in months gone by. And he deserves, I know Kenny McLean is getting a lot of attention, and rightly so, because he's done a good job again at centre-back. But Marcelino Nunez quietly, I think, has had some really good performances in there as well. So I wanted to add that, because I think it is kind of a twofold thing in terms of Norwich City's improvement in possession. It is what they've done defensively with Kenny McLean and pushing him back, but also what Marcelino Nunez has done in midfield as well and offered. And yes, obviously the trade-off of that is you have Gabriel Sarra in a bit of a deeper position, and particularly in that first half, I think they lacked his thrust and his creativity higher up the pitch. But Norwich are using the ball a lot better. And in turn, if you're not giving the ball away as much, you're not creating those transitional moments for your opponents, which caused them so many issues during that really tough run. And there's a security now with the ball, which gives them a really nice foundation to go and play on. And look, if you lose the ball in the final third, that's fine. You've got enough for structure there to protect you. If you're losing it kind of in middle thirds and whatnot, and teams are savvy enough, then you get kind of get broke on, and Norwich are controlling that aspect, I think, a little bit, significantly better than they were doing. Look, is this a polished, finished, slick Norwich City outfit? No. Is it a much improved Norwich City outfit? Definitely. And I think we're beginning to see that now. And actually, that second half, I was a little bit concerned at half-time that we were going to get another kind of stodgy 1-0 win without a performance, which kind of leaves me a little bit frustrated. But actually, the second half performance, I think, had that control and had that comfort, and as I said, this could have been a scoreline that they won by a much more significant margin than they did in the end. But actually, 2-0, clean sheet, pretty comfortable. That probably sums up the game. It was really comfortable. I think Huddersfield were poor, and I spoke about them a little bit. They're in a really bad run. I think they're banging trouble, if I'm honest with you. Having seen QPR and having seen Sheffield Wednesday here in the last month, Huddersfield, I'm trying to think of a worse team to come to Carrow Road this season, and I'm really struggling. I'm not sure there has been one, and I think you can sense that sort of unrest within those Huddersfield supporters. I mean, you had them singing about David Wagner, about Neil Warnock. They're going to need a massive January, I think, to pull themselves out of what is a really precarious situation. But yeah, it was good today. It was good, and the run is 1 in 8. Norwich have taken more points over this 8 games than they have in any spell under David Wagner at any point. That's really encouraging. That shows that there is now a solidity, that there has been improvement, and I'm very. You might be able to tell I'm very cautious in terms of saying, look, a corner's been turned, but I think there has been evidence of real improvement, and that's significant. What we'll be telling now is Norwich now have 5 games of 6 against teams currently in the top 6. 2 against West Brom, 1 against Hull, 1 against Leeds, 1 against Southampton, and obviously an away game to Millwall in that as well. All of that is going to be really interesting, I think, to kind of gauge where this team is. And it feels like a really defining moment for this season and for Norwich. And that's why maybe I'm slightly tentative, because I think they have played some struggling teams and some teams who aren't in the best nick. And that helps, of course, to build confidence, and it has established the run that they're on. Now let's see if they can take everything that they've built during this 8-game run, which again included a good win at Cardiff, a good win at Bristol City, an excellent point at Portman Road. Can they use all of that with players returning, Josh Sargent, Ben Gibson, Hwang Ui-jo, we saw a couple of them on the pitch today. If they can utilise all of that and take it into what is a really tough run of games over this Christmas period, and maintain these results and performances latterly that we're seeing, probably the second half of today that I mentioned, and again, maybe some more of the intangible qualities that we saw at Portman Road. If you can utilise all of those and take them into this run, they've got a really good chance of getting some points. And if they can do that, and I guess we're probably looking. I think the 4 at the top of the division are gone, really. Southampton, Leeds, Ipswich, and Leicester. I think they're far and away better than Norwich City. The 2 games against West Brom are going to be fascinating. The game away at Hull is going to be fascinating. And it is really let's see what you're made of them, because that, for me, will be real evidence of whether this group has grown. Has it turned the corner? Has it got the quality that it needs to beat the very best in this division? And if it comes through that test, we can talk about turning corners and uplifts in form and golden or bright uplands. I think there are still elements of this Norwich side that still feel a little bit undercoached, that there are still deficiencies there for me. And that's why this is going to be so interesting. Can they, or have they made enough strides to really make an impact against some of the best teams in the division? And all of those questions ultimately will be answered. I don't think anyone is at a position where they are convinced now that this Norwich City team is going to be top 6 contenders, because of what the past shows us, and what, we're at the halfway point of the season. They're 8th in the table. They're 2 points off the playoffs. That was kind of unthinkable a month ago, really. But there still needs to be progress, and there still needs to be evidence that against the very best in this division, Norwich can not just compete, but actually go and get results. And that starts obviously on Boxing Day against West Brom. And as I said, that kickstarts a really, really difficult run. The next time we're here on New Year's Day, we'll be against Russell Martin's Southampton, which feels like a really tough or sort of tall order for anybody at the moment, but they're the type of games that Norwich have to go and prove themselves in and be competitive in and produce performances in, and then we'll see. So I think there is an element of this which is a bit wait and see, but what they have done and what they've done over this 8-game spell, considering where they were, is a really good turnaround. It's a really, really good block of form, but it's just that, it's just form. We need to see some consistency, and that is born from performances, and that is born from improvements in areas that we need to see. I still think there are some elements in possession that need work. They're obviously trying to be quite vertical. That's David Wagner's idea of the game. I think there are points where they can be a little bit more patient, and points where they move the ball a little bit too slow. So there are lots of elements for me, and I still think they're kind of there to be got at a little bit. So as I said, this is a really big test. I'm really looking forward to it. What I want to say is thank you very much, obviously, for watching every single video verdict this year. I'm going to be at West Brom Millwall, so we've still got 2 more before the year is through. But thank you very much, everybody, for watching this year, for all of my home games and away games as well. It's been quite the year, full of ups and downs, but at least Norwich City go into Christmas in a better place. And it's 2 points off 5th, I think, but also 2 points off 13th. it's a mad division, and this is again is why this run of fixtures coming up is so pivotal. From me, from everybody here at the Pink 'Un, I'm wishing you all a very, very, very Merry Christmas. I hope you get everything that you want, and that your family have, you and your families have an excellent time over the festive season. Eat, be merry, and we'll see you at the Hawthorns on Boxing Day. Cheers, guys. See you later.